Hello, and welcome to episode 65 of TBR, the To Be Read podcast, where we talk about the books we love and the topics that interest us. I'm Patrick Stemp, and as always, I have Michael Ronn and Jamie Maltman here with me. How you guys doing?
Patrick.
So tonight we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We'll talk about books, of course, but we're looking into the fall schedule. This is sort of the time of year when a lot of video games come out and a lot of all the new TV shows are starting up this month and into October. And of course, there'll be a lot of new books coming out as well. So we're going to kind of touch mostly on the books and the television shows that sometimes pull us away as avid readers. That means we're avid consumers, I guess, of story, and I think television is probably the other big thing that we consume. Movies as well, although I'm honestly not too sure about what's coming out other than The Martian when it comes to movies, but we'll see if we touch on that. But we'll start by going over our week in reading, and you know what, maybe I'll go first because I actually finished something this week.
Awesome.
It's been a few weeks. I guess it's that sort of summer slump, getting busy doing other things. So I finished reading M.A. Brotherton's Choices, which is the first book in his Seven Keys saga, and I really enjoyed it. I think. I know I enjoyed it because I finished it, and pretty quickly. Like once I got into it, it really kind of sucked me in. I haven't been doing as much reading as I would like lately, and I found that I was going to his book before doing other things. Like I really wanted to get back to it, and so it's a urban fantasy story, and it's magic and dragons, and it's how I like my fantasy. When I'm reading fantasy, I do prefer the sort of the urban, Neil Gaiman kind of fantasy more than like the swords and or the fantasy, if you like the Tolkien fantasy, I guess.
Mhm.
So I really, really enjoyed this book, good enough, that I'm going to start reading the second book in the series. One thing I would say is there is a lot of language in it. So I would, if it weren't for that, I would definitely recommend it for all ages. But as it stands, I would say it's probably for a little more of a mature reader because there is quite a bit of foul language through it. It doesn't take away from the story, but it is there. So I would definitely recommend that. I enjoyed it a lot. And what about you guys, Michael?
Yeah, it's kind of a light week for me. Summer's kind of winding down, and I, like you, I haven't read as much as I normally have. But I finished Saga, the graphic novel series I've been reading the last couple of weeks, Volume 3, and then I also finished it just before I started the show, Saga Volume 4. Just came in from the library. So, Saga Volume 3, awesome, super fantastic. Have no complaints.
I just saw your Goodreads page, so I think I know what's coming.
Yeah. Volume 4, not so much. Remember I said a couple weeks ago, this
is exactly what you said. You're like, this is great. I'm worried that it's going to set me up for this big fall.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. It just, not. I guess wasn't it. Just volumes 1 through 3, they're like an arc, and when you're done with volume 3, it kind of feels like it could be over. But this picks up a couple of months after Volume 3, Volume 4 does, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel, the characters weren't interesting, the plot was kind of dull, I wasn't impressed. But Volume 5 comes out in 2 weeks, so am I going to read it? Yeah, I'm going to read it, so we'll see. And then the second thing I've started reading is book 1 of the Nemesis Games series, Leviathan Wakes, by James S.A. Corey. So, I'm not that.
The Expanse series.
Is it the Expanse series?
Yeah, Nemesis Games is the fifth book.
Fifth book. Okay. Yeah. You can obviously tell how much of it I've read. I think I'm maybe only 1 or 2 chapters in, but I got the audiobook, and I like the narrator so far. So I think it's a female narrator. So it's kind of the first audiobook I've heard with a female narrator in a while. So kind of cool. And I also started reading, but I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it, Dragon Keeper by Robin Hobb, which is pure fantasy. Have you read that, Jamie?
No, but Robin Hobb is...
She's got this series of dragons.
She's got
Motivators.
no. She's got the other one. I read one of her books in the fall. That was the.
Okay.
I'll look it up, but
Yeah,
I think
I
you
got
got
it.
the other one better then.
Yeah, I got it because it's research for my next series, but kind of hard to get through. I think it was more of the audiobook than anything else, but really interesting story, and I love the writing, but I'm not sure if I can commit to the rest of it. But we'll see. I'll be. It's one of those where you read the first tenth of it and you don't like it, but then you get to a certain point and it's awesome. So
Try Assassin's Apprentice, book one
okay,
of the Farseer trilogy. She wrote that in like early '90s or '96. First
okay,
published '95. That one, it was really good. I liked it a lot. So
yeah, I'm
and
gonna
that's a
try to.
really well-known series.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to stick through with it, but I'm gonna try to finish up some of this military fiction that I've been doing the last couple of weeks. So that's my week. How about you, Jamie?
Cool. Well, I am now up to page 800 of Storm of Swords. So that's, again, book 3 of George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire. And I actually just recently, remember I'd said, I think I'm getting close to this one thing that had, like, spoilerish stuff out in pop culture. So that's The Red Wedding. You probably heard references to that, even if you don't know exactly what it is. I actually had avoided it enough that I didn't know specifics of whose wedding it was or who's going to die there, and I'm assuming that's like a lot of blood, and that's why it's The Red Wedding and whatever. So anyway, that was the assumptions I went in with, and it was actually not at all what I was expecting, and more shocking in some ways. But it also happens in a hurry. So yeah, that was a pretty crazy stretch where I actually put the book down and went, wow, like this is the first time, like people have talked about us. Actually, it's the second time. People talk about how you get attached to the characters and then wham, their head comes off, right? So that happens, very significantly in the first book. It didn't really happen in the second book. Like there's lots of characters dying. There's viewpoint characters dying, but I don't know. I didn't have the same level of attachment, I guess. And then this one is more shocking. So I actually mentioned that to my wife, and she's like, I'd stop reading there, and I'm like, I'm not going to stop reading there, but it was really more surprising, and so I'm just going to see how the rest of it goes. Then they picked up with another storyline with another character they really like, so that's all good. But it's been really good, but it's been strange because that's one thing people have said. Like in book 3, actually even in book 3, he starts to take on viewpoint characters to show you. It's like people that you think are some of the worst characters out there. All of a sudden, you're in their head for 1/8 of the book or 1/10 of the book, and so you start seeing a very different perspective, and you start seeing their motivations. And he's all about the shades of gray. Period. Right. That's that's really the main. Everyone's a hero of their own story, and everyone's got real motivations why they're doing everything that they do, and those will come into massive conflict, and one person's hero is another person's villain. So it's really, it is pretty great. But no, I'm still enjoying that. The next one I have, or not the next one I have, I just finished up in our Adventure Time graphic novels. I think we've got on the very last one that we had from the library. The one we just finished was called Sugary Shorts, and it was a bunch of short stories or even like one-page comics by different artists. So you had different art style, different stuff. Some of them, you're like, that was worth including all the, that was worth doing all that work for that page of like, a few words, and it just, I don't know. So some of them were really lame. Some of them were decent, but overall, I was like, that was the least exciting thing we've done yet in that Adventure Time world. And then now we're reading one more, which is called Seeing Red, which focuses on Jake the dog and Marceline the vampire queen. But this is the first one that we've read that wasn't like full color, so it's a classic black and white artwork. And my son was really not sure about that because he doesn't like that. But the story seems quite good so far, so this one's much better. And I think this one, I don't know the name. They keep changing the names. There's some new person. Kate Leff, I think, is one of the names associated with this one. So it's ones that weren't in that short story anthology one. So the only cool thing about, oh no, that wasn't even that one. Never mind. So yeah, so that's my weekend reading.
Okay. Cool. So let's see what we have coming up soon. So
Schedule.
for me, yeah. So I'll and we can hit sort of the reading and the watching. There's a couple things. I'll give you my sort of list first. I don't know. This one I'm on the fence with, but Lee Child, the 20th book in the Jack Reacher series, is coming out. This one's called Make Me. And after the last couple of books, I've been kind of leaning away from that series, getting tired of the character. But I've seen a few sort of early reviews, and one of them, basically said that this new book is everything that the last one wasn't, and that is, it's good. Um, so obviously, I'm not the only one who's kind of been a little disappointed with the last few entries in the series. And you know what? I've been with the series long enough that I'm certainly willing to give it another try. And so that comes out next week. I've got like a hold on that one at the library. The other one is the third omnibus in the Walking Dead series is coming out in mid-October. Definitely going to be checking that one out. We're at this point, especially at the end of the third omnibus, we'll be way, way ahead of the TV show. Which is, it's always interesting to see how those two things diverge. The third sort of book that I'm considering this fall is The Girl in the Spider's Web, and I can't remember the name of the author. I'm a little on the fence with this one because this is the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was it Stieg Larsson? So the original.
This is this guy who's been chosen to.
Well, yeah, the original author passed away years ago, and this is another one where they found a manuscript and hired somebody to complete the story. And I haven't had a lot of luck with books where they've done that. There was that Michael Crichton book. That I absolutely couldn't stand, where they did that. And of course, there was the Dr. Seuss book that we talked about last week, where they dragged something out of his.
May as well have drugged it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep that one on the list and wait and see if the reviews are generally positive. I suppose reviews for books like that are always generally positive. There'll be some haters, but we'll see. That's also, I'm expecting, based on the first three, probably going to be a heavy read, like a thick, 800-page thing, but we'll see. So those are sort of the big reads that I have coming. You guys?
I'll go.
Sure.
I guess the first one for me would be The Beam, Season 3, by Johnny Beecher and Sean Platt. That's coming out, I think, September. So I think it's coming out this month. If not this month, next month. But yeah, looking forward to that. I'm curious to see where the series is going to go and how they're going to set the ground for the however many books they go on in the series. But definitely really good hard science fiction. It's definitely really unique. I like The Beam a lot. Second to Unicorn Westerns, but I like The Beam. I like The Beam a lot.
Have you read their fake nonfiction book? I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
By Sterling Gibson. No, I have not read that.
Okay.
I should, though. I should, because I just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, that sounds interesting. It's because it's supposed to be like a Malcolm Gladwell style fiction book, but no, I haven't read that one. But I'll probably add that on. And then another book that I'm looking forward to is Dean Wesley Smith's Heinlein's Rules, which
so he's doing like a short thing on that.
Yeah, it's his next nonfiction book.
When's it starting on his blog?
He's supposed to start posting it on his blog tomorrow. So I'll be curious to see what that's about. It's interesting because it seems like he's converting all of his lectures into books, so you can kind of predict what he's going to do next. And then I think at some point he's going to have Killing Even More Sacred Cows of Publishing, the third book in that series out, and I absolutely love the first two books. So
doing a book on Heinlein's Rules seems a little weird because we all know the rules. They're pretty straightforward.
Yeah. He has a very well-received lecture. Well,
yeah, he does.
Controversial, I guess, in some ways, but people who like it like that a lot, and think he does a really good job with that, of expounding on that in a way that makes sense and impacts people. So that's
I think so too. I think it's more starting and restarting, kind of a, lack of a better word, ass-kicking sort of book that's geared more toward beginners. But I still think there's probably a lot he could teach in terms of his own experiences. I think that's really what I love about his books, is that he talks about his experiences and like some of the things that other authors have done that he's basically ripping up. It's like, don't do this, you need to do it this way. Or I like the fact that he's very bold and opinionated, even though you don't always agree with him. So that's kind of it for the books, other than Saga. Volume 5, which I was kind of surprised today. I thought the series was over, but it's like the planets are aligning because I'm actually reading a series that's still going.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. So I don't know how many books are going to be out, but they've been releasing about one a year since 2011, I think. So
Okay.
it's probably going to go on for a few. I think Why the Last Man, which is another one that Brian K. Vaughan, that was maybe eight issues, 8 volumes. So this one could go on for a while, but I'm probably just going to wait to get it from the library. So it'll probably be December 2016 before I even get it, but we'll see. So those are the books I'm most looking forward to this fall, though.
Okay. What about you, Jamie?
It's funny. I was again, I don't tend to read that many books like just as they're coming out ever. And I was just checking to see a couple of those, like that Amulet that we were enjoying. That one's not till early 2016, the graphic novel, which is number 7, Firelight in that series. And then the one that I am sort of waiting for is, well, I guess there'd be 2, but one I'm not there yet. But the one, R. Scott Bakker, when he does his The Unholy Console, which is book 3 of his 2nd series, so really 6th book of the overall The Darkness That Comes Before in that series. But that, I don't know, I try and keep an eye on his blog, but his blog, he talks about all sorts of crazy neuroscience and philosophical stuff as well that goes really, like, deep into research of that stuff and just, hypothesizing, like, crazy philosophical talk. So I don't tend to, I skim that to see if he's mentioning anything about the release date of his next book. But like I've seen stuff that he may even split it into 2 because it's so big or whatever. So I don't know. He's working with his editors. I think he's still with Orbit for that one. So those are things that like aren't coming out yet. Just as I was looking through some of the releases that are coming out, a couple of interesting ones that I thought that caught my eye. One was The Aeronauts Windlass, which is the Cinder Spires #1, which is first book in a new steampunk series by Jim Butcher. So that's coming out end of this month and has a sort of typical steampunky kind of look to it. And I'm like, that's interesting. I would definitely consider that. And then the other neat one, I wouldn't get to there anytime soon, but Terry Pratchett posthumously, I guess, it was already in process, but the 41st Discworld novel, The Shepherd's Crown, which is part of the Tiffany Aching sort of sub-series #5. So I haven't read any in that sub-series within the Discworld stuff, and I want to get to that, explore that world a lot more, because I've only read one book in this. I think it was Guards is the one that I read and did like. But it's neat that that's going to be, that is the final Discworld novel now, right? At least from him, there was talk there would be someone to do more stuff in the world, but it's not, it's not the main series. It's not like they're going to be digging it up, like you're saying, like some of these sort of undead versions of books that don't match the living, work of the author, right? So that's, I guess that's where I'm looking. I'm probably most of my fall, or I don't know. Anyway, for a while, if I do move on to book 4 in Song of Ice and Fire, that'll keep me going for quite a while. So we'll see what this next 300 pages holds for me. Whether I go to hit that next and just stay in that world, or otherwise, I think I'm going to probably go back to the next book in the Patrick Rothfuss's series. So that would be the Wise Man's Fear. It came after The Name of the Wind that I loved so much last year. So I figure one of those is probably next, and the other one maybe the other one next. So I might not have much room for a while yet for reading more. So that's another doorstop.
Okay.
But meanwhile, on TV.
Yeah, sorry, my
internet
internet was. I was just trying to look something up, but let's see. Give me 1 second here. Well, there's the returning shows, and then there's the new stuff. So,
and there's
obviously
chronologically almost, right, of like throwing stuff out there. I've
yeah,
got a list of like
I don't know what's starting exactly when, but so I've got obviously The Walking Dead is a big one for me. That starts up in October, and Fear the Walking Dead, which is the spin-off from that series. Yeah, it started a week ago. I haven't actually watched the first episode yet. We've been working our way through some summer watching, which has actually just been re-watching the entire that '70s show. I don't know if you guys remember that show, but I had picked up I found like all 8 seasons at Walmart for like $15 or something. I was like, it was a good old show. I'm gonna watch that. We just finished it tonight.
Cool.
So tomorrow night, I think we're gonna start up Fear the Walking Dead. There's 2 episodes out now.
It must be neat. Just as an aside on that '70s show, because it's not like it gets dated based on when it was set, right? So it might be a little more evergreen than some comedic
Right.
stuff.
The show's dated.
Yeah.
Like automatically.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
actually interesting. Just for anyway.
It's good. It falls off very steeply in the 8th season because they lost a couple other. Topher Grace left at the end of season 7, and then they lost Ashton Kutcher even before halfway through the season. They introduced a new character to kind of replace Topher Grace. Although he was very good, the show itself very steeply drops off with lots of cameos to try to fill in, to try to make it more interesting, I guess. But you know what? Overall, it was a pretty solid show. I love. Why can't I remember his name? But the actor who played Red, Red Foreman, and he was in the original RoboCop. He's a fun guy.
He's hilarious.
So Walking Dead, that's obviously a big one. So you see some of the other shows that are coming back. Person of Interest, that's a big show for this household. We love Jim Caviezel, and that whole show is amazing. That's going to be season 5, I believe, and I think it's actually not coming back until January, and it's going to be a shorter season and their last season. So they'll be going out on a high. I think it's been a fantastic show. I don't think either of you guys watched that one.
No, I haven't seen it.
Great one. So Justified for its run was definitely my favorite show. And now that it's over, I would put Person of Interest at the top of my list, and kind of right beside it would be The Blacklist, which is also going to be coming back soon, and that's just a fantastic show. That's one of the best new shows in recent years. I think that's season 3 that's going to be starting up. So if you like your FBI dramas with lots of mystery and intrigue and action, and these are a couple really, really cool shows.
Sweet. I always
Those
feel
are the big.
underwatched when you list off your favorite shows, Patrick.
What's that?
I always feel underwatched when I listen to you list off your favorite shows. I'm like, I haven't heard of any of these.
And you know what? I honestly don't watch a whole lot of TV. I limit myself to basically one show a night during the production year. So it's maybe 45 minutes. So I try to keep it to 7 shows. As things drop off, I typically don't add too many more. Although we'll talk about some of the new shows that are coming. I'll run down the rest of my list pretty quickly. Gotham.
Yeah.
Season 2 starts soon, hopefully.
It's one of the earlier ones.
Season
September 21st, so it's Mondays again.
Okay. Season 1 was great. Couple little hiccups there. I really did not like the character of what was her name? Jamie. It was Cat. Not Cat Girl. The Fish Mooney.
Oh, you don't like Fish Mooney?
Oh God, I couldn't stand her. No.
Okay.
So hopefully she won't be in season 2. It's a little unclear after the end of season 1. We'll see. The best part of that show for me has been the actor playing the Penguin.
He was kick-ass. He's so good.
He was such a standout in season 1. He's better even than the other. Overall, the actors are great, but he was a real standout for me. And let's see, we've got a couple comedies. The Big Bang Theory is still going strong-ish. I think this is going to be season 8 or 9. I hope this is their last season. They need to wrap this up. They're starting to kind of lose their way with some of the characters, and they're starting to become sort of parodies of themselves at this point. And I'd like to see them wrap it up, kind of go out on a bit of a high. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which not a lot of people seem to watch, but man, is it funny with what's his name, Andy Samberg or Adam Samberg?
Yeah, Samberg, and then Andre Braugher.
Oh, and Terry Crews.
Terry Crews, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's funny. So it's a cop show set in Brooklyn, obviously, and it's kind of it's almost a little like The Office.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
They don't do the interview thing like where they're talking to the camera, but it's kind of like a day at the office, but it's a police station. And
the hand zooms with the cameras and
Yeah,
all of that.
it's a show that not a lot of people that I know anyway really seem to have heard of or watched, but it's a standout for me over the past couple years. This, I think, is going to be season 3. It is just a straight up hilarious show. So you've watched that one, Michael?
I've seen a few episodes, yeah. Andre Braugher, I think he's the chief, right?
Mm-hmm.
People say, when I was a kid, people say, "Oh, you look just like Andre Braugher." I get that all the time. Like
He's hilarious.
Back before he was in, because he's the guy from Glory. That's kind of how he became famous.
Okay.
And they're like, "Hey, you look like the guy from Glory." So I watch everything he's in. But,
I didn't when it first started. It's one of those shows that kind of like Parks and Recreation for me when it first started, where I really didn't like it when I first saw it because I didn't think I would really like Sandberg. But after April really liked it, and then I went back to it, and I was like, yeah, once you get past the first couple episodes while they kind of find their footing, it really does kind of come into its own, and it's a really funny show. Let me see, I think I hit, and of course, I'm sure Jamie will talk about this one, but Doctor Who comes back on September 19th, and I have to go back and finish watching the last season. So that would be, I think that's my list of returning shows.
Yeah, that's number one, obviously, in our family for the upcoming TV season. So,
what other returning shows do you guys have?
I've got, I'm going to kind of go in a different direction, but Shark Tank. You guys ever seen that?
Yeah.
Seen it, but I don't watch it.
There's a Canadian one called Dragon's Den that's the same concept, but it's a Canadian one.
Right. Yeah, it's basically
did it come first even? Dragon's Den?
No, I think Shark Tank came here.
I can guarantee you that whatever show started first, it was whatever the European or like the British version is, because I guarantee you that show's a ripoff of a British show, like everything else we do.
I think it started here. I'm pretty sure it did, because it's got 5 big American entrepreneurs and these young or not young, but entrepreneurs who are trying to grow, start, or save their business kind of go in front of them and pitch. And if the entrepreneurs like it, they'll make them an offer, and it's pretty cool. Like just to see the different types of businesses that people are running and some of the ridiculous businesses that people are running. Like
if you like, you'd probably enjoy then James Altucher again. I mean, this guy. We've mentioned him before, but he interviews everybody on his podcasts. And sorry to interrupt, but look for his article, this interview that he did with I think it was a mother-son team or husband-wife and you get to hear about the back end of Shark Tank, of what it takes to get on the show. Sometimes it takes years to get on the show, and they're the people who made, I can't remember what it's called, but it's it's some sort of basically a stool that you put in front of the toilet to help you poop better.
Yeah. And I remember that one. Yeah.
So, you ready to have your mind blown? Dragon's Den, 2006, started in Canada, and then they commissioned it to start 2008 as Shark Tank, as a remaking of the show in the U.S. And they're all based on a Japanese show called Money Tigers that started in 2001.
Cool.
So it's gone all over the world, but we weren't the first one to have the Dragon's Den name, and the U.S. was one of the last ones to have it at all. So.
That's funny, because this past season they were talking about, we started this and it went all over the world and all that crap.
Not at all.
Yeah. Propaganda. See, don't always believe what you hear on TV, kids.
No.
Yeah, so Shark Tank is one of my favorite. I love Shark Tank. So my wife and I, that's one of our favorite shows in the house. I'm looking forward to Last Man on Earth. Have you guys seen that?
No, I heard about it last year and kind of,
That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be stupid, and it's actually fantastic. Like, whoever thought a post-apocalyptic comedy would work? Like, it's so, I don't know. It's got such quirky humor that it's just awesome. It's awesome.
Who's the girl in it?
Kristen Shaw.
She did one of the voices on Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, she did.
Which actress is that?
Kristen Shaw, I think is her name.
Okay, man, she gets under my skin.
She's pretty annoying. She's annoying in the show too.
That's one of the reasons that I haven't watched the show yet.
It's funny though. It really is. And then January Jones from Mad Men is in it too.
Okay.
And there's a couple other characters who are in it too, but it's a really good show. I think it started off really good, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go. And then
That's an SNL guy who stars in that too, right?
yeah, I think so. I'm not a big SNL guy, so I don't know all the people who kind of come and gone from there.
I have big gaps. I have times when I watched it religiously, and I have massive gaps when I just never
got the humor. But yeah, I guess the next show that's going to be interesting to watch to see if it succeeds or crashes and burns would be Late Night with Stephen Colbert, at least here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, it's either going to be a circus or it's going to be cool, like to see him. I don't know if you guys ever watched the Colbert Report, but love that. So it's going to be weird to see him out of character. I don't know. It'll be, or maybe it won't be. I don't know. But
the only late night show I ever watch is John Oliver. Last week tonight.
I like John Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see the bits that people forward from that are really good.
Yeah, so that's Late Night is kind of not as good as it used to be, but we'll see. And then I guess the last one on my list that I'd like to watch, but I'm probably not going to, but I know it's coming out, is Once Upon a Time. I think they're on season 5 now.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I love that show.
First season. We loved the first season, and then we just lost track of it in the second, or no. We watched most of the second season, and we didn't watch it at all by the third. So, and
season 2 is fantastic. Both the first 2 seasons were awesome. I love the guy that plays Rumpelstiltskin, like Robert Carlyle. It's awesome. Yeah, and then once they introduced the Frozen characters, I was like, oh,
we were
the Alice in Wonderland thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I still want to continue with it though. I guess love the storytelling and the character work in it. It's unlike anything else that's out there. So.
Yeah.
That's my list of the returning shows, anyway.
What about you, Jamie?
What did I miss returning? There was something I was looking at there. I'm going through this list, and I think of something, and then I lose it and stuff.
Here's if you need a minute.
How about the crossover from returning to new series based on returning?
If you're going to say what I think you're going to say.
Is that what you were saying next?
Probably. The only new show that I'm worried about being excited about, because it was so disappointing when it ended last time. Heroes Reborn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think I finished all the seasons either.
Me neither. We gave up.
And I think I got them
probably halfway through. I think we stopped watching probably in season 3, which is probably around when everybody stopped watching.
Right. Yeah. I saw the first 2 for sure, and I think I might have been somewhere in season 3. I'm not 100%.
I saw that trailer they've been talking about bringing Heroes back for a while, I think, and I think the thing that really got me with the trailer, aside from the fact that it just looks so darn cool, is from the looks of things, they got every single actor back for this show. HRG, so the actor who plays Noah Bennett, he's one of my all-time favorite villains on TV, right up there with Benjamin Linus from Lost. And he's not so much a villain as just that in the first season you really had no clue what he was up to, and for the first half, at least I think, of the first season, you didn't even know what his name was, and everyone just called him HRG because he had his horn-rimmed glasses.
Yeah.
And I really like him as an actor, and I love that character. And it looks like I said, it looks like they've got every single person. I can't think of anyone that is missing from that trailer. Maybe Nikki, the blonde girl who was kind of had that split personality. But Micah's back, Mohinder, Hero, everybody's back, which is amazing considering how much time has gone by since they took the show off the air, and now.
Cool. Yeah, we have a comment, or 2 comments actually,
okay.
that interject here. Kate Morgan says, I love reading in the fall, such as fall exists in Florida, that is. Just started rereading Harry Potter again because it's September 1st. And David Anson is also watching. He says, hi guys, Person of Interest, Gotham, Big Bang Theory, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Castle, The Good Wife, and Suits are at the top of my TV list. And also have to mention Doctor Who on the Strain, which I totally forgot The Good Wife. That's a fantastic show.
Castle would have been on my list. Castle dropped off my list 3 or 4 years ago, I have to say now, after they relieved the tension between the 2 main characters and sort of got them together. I loved Castle, and I just every once in a while you got to stop watching something and make room for something else.
Wow. I just saw actually.
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
I was just looking through the cast list there for the Heroes Reborn, and one person that's added that you wouldn't know much about, but Dylan Bruce, who is one of the guys on Orphan Black, is on the show now, is joining or is guest starring or something like that. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, because that's another show that it's not a fall show, but it'll be back probably like April next year for the next
Orphan Black?
there. Yeah.
Okay.
So Dylan Bruce anyway was one of the guys from there that I thought did a really good job, and so he's joining. He's one of many new people either guest starring or joining the cast as well.
Yeah,
and it's funny. I think some of the people that were your like the ones you're mentioning are guest stars as opposed to main cast for the new show.
No, I've seen when I was looking on IMDb.
Yeah.
All of those actors, if I remember correctly, are listed as being 13 episodes. 13
Really?
episodes.
Okay.
13 episodes. Yeah, they're not just. It looks like they're in it through the whole thing.
Interesting. 'Cause just anyway, we'll see. Okay, cool.
I have a final mention for me that I'm sure you guys are going to be interested in too. And it's a movie. It's not The Martian, but Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that. I gotta tell you.
I am. I think it's going to be.
My reservations are off. I think it's going to end up being fantastic.
I agree. I think J.J. Abrams it's in good hands. You know, I love the Star Trek reboots. I love the first one. I love Star Trek Into Darkness. I think he's going to take it in a new direction. I think fans are going to be pissed at where he takes it, but hey, nothing wrong with that.
I think they'll be less pissed than they were with the prequels anyway. Like it's.
Can it get any worse than the prequels? Really?
In terms of
You know, I mean, as long as it doesn't have Jar Jar, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, it's what can you say about Star Wars, right? I mean, everyone's already decided whether they're going to go see it or not. I'm probably not going to unless I get dragged to see it.
Get it on demand.
I've been burned too many times.
Yeah, and then there's the Good Dinosaur that's coming up on Pixar too, the end of this year. Which
the Good Dinosaur?
The Good Dinosaur, yeah.
Okay.
At least I think that's what it's called. So.
Speaking of movies, so if we're looking at sort of new shows as well, there are several shows that are coming this season that, and I haven't seen a lot about them, but I'm going to be keeping an eye out. They're turning The Minority Report.
Actually, I was just going to mention that one.
I saw that.
Which, of course, I'm interested in because it's a Philip K. Dick story that they turned into a movie that I liked with Tom Cruise, The Minority Report.
That looks like it's shot in Toronto. Just from the ones, I've got one still that I looked at from, actually no, I know at least part of this is shot in Toronto, because where I used to work, the Brookfield place, BCE place, downtown by Union Station, right in downtown Toronto, they're using that as the backdrop for one of the production stills that they've got for some of the promo stuff, so Minority Report, Toronto, and that's Toronto City Hall.
They're also turning Limitless.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, oh, okay, which I never saw the movie, but I would check it out as a show.
That's a movie that I've had on my list for a long time.
Yeah, I have to watch, and I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. They're also bringing Supergirl to the small screen.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the Muppets are getting their own show.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
New show. That, from everything I've seen from that, it looks like they're doing it Office style.
Yeah. Which, it's funny, because you would think that they would have done that a long time ago. I think the Muppets are perfect for...
Well, the original show was kind of like that, right? Where you were backstage and you got to see the characters interacting, and then you'd get the
stage,
the on stage, the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's gonna be hilarious to see Kermit and Miss Piggy in a sitcom.
We'll see.
I don't know. I think that.
I wonder how cameo heavy it's going to be, and if they're going to have cameos, I think the first one they should probably have would be Steve Martin.
Yeah. There's plenty of people they could bring on. And then with Sesame Street going to HBO, have you guys heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. So what else?
I gotta give you my two for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually I just realized that some of this has already been on, and more of it's going to be on. But Lego Star Wars Droid Tales, so it's another Star Wars spin-off there that there's been doing a little bit of. We're actually going to be at Fan Expo this Friday and watching a screening of part of that. And there's going to be a Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy TV show on the Disney XD as well this fall. So I'm like, that's cool. I'm in for that. I like Guardians of the Galaxy a lot.
Animated?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'd be willing to check that one out.
Yeah,
That was one of my favorite movies
that
last
was
year.
awesome. I love that. So yeah, those are a couple of those ones there.
And there's other shows that
Looking
are.
forward to the baseball playoffs as long as the Blue Jays stay in like they are right now.
I hate the
So I'll be
playoffs
watching
because
football.
the playoffs just eat into my TV shows.
Yeah,
Like
I
they
like
don't
it
like
when
we
the
don't
Blue
have
Jays
enough
make it.
reasons to
It's been 20 years, so.
any sport. I mean, the playoffs just throw off my schedule. I have to wait like an extra month to see the next episode of my favorite show because the Stanley Cup or whatever.
Grab the highlights.
The more annoying thing with that is how you is the ones that don't quite do it, but they just push it off by half an hour.
Mm.
That's the worst. Like if you ever watch Sunday stuff and then during football season and you'd set up your recordings and that was annoying. Even though I was a football fan. Actually, did you see this, Michael? That oh wait, no, is that new or I was just looking through the list and Beyond the Tank. It looks like it kind of started.
Yeah, that's a documentary that goes behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been picked up for 10 more episodes, I think, is what they said.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
I think what's one of the things that's interesting too now is just with there's sort of the change in the way we consume this stuff too. It used to be, if you had cable, you could watch all these shows. There are some shows that you almost have to have 3 or 4 different streams coming into your house, because there's the Netflix exclusives and there's the Amazon exclusives, right? Like if you don't have Netflix, you won't see House of Cards, and if you don't have what is Amazon doing? I can't think of what.
Man in High Castle was one.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. I forgot about that one. I think the first episode aired several months ago, and then the actual series starts up soon. I want to see that. But Netflix has got all of their. I think they did Flash last year. And,
then there's Flash. Is Flash done or did it come back? I never finished watching it.
Season 1 ended a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. I haven't finished watching it. I've got my PVR is so loaded with stuff I never got around to watching last year. Like I have 8 episodes of Flash. I have all of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I have X Company that was a CBC show that was with these the World War II thing. And
I've seen bits of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because again, I try to limit my TV show. So there are shows that are on in this house that I don't watch, and there are shows like Grimm, which I like but don't watch religiously. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wasn't very interested in Flash or Arrow, but they're both watched in this house, just not by me.
I liked Flash, but it was one that we could at least watch with the kids. That's the thing. Like, if I have such limited time for watching non-kids stuff, that that's where this piled up. Whereas if they were good for it, because Flash is one that it's fine, it's the level that it's at is acceptable. I can have that on, and the kids are good for it. But they just we were just doing other stuff, and we barely watched any TV this summer at all. Even though I have a 90% full big PBR with stuff that I just haven't gotten around to.
Well, the snow will be here soon, and we'll have all the time we need.
That's right.
Get caught up. And we're heading up on time here, I think.
Yeah.
Any last-minute shows you want to mention?
No, other than a last-minute comment by Kate Morgan. Says that the Muppets need to get Nathan Fillion on since he's been in the hilarious promos, and we all know he can sing.
Right.
Oh, we all knew he could sing with Dr. Horrible. Which I'm trying to remember now. One of you or both of you hadn't seen that yet. Dr. Horrible sing-along blog?
No, I just heard all the references in the Neil Patrick Harris book.
Maybe that's homework for you guys. It's you can watch the whole thing on YouTube, I think.
But I should watch Firefly first, right?
Yeah, that's true.
No, the correct order is Firefly, Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, and then Serenity.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Duly noted.
Anyway, so next week we're going to be having a guest, Justin Sloan. Michael, do you want to just give us a quick highlight on what we'll be talking about there?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Great Fantasy Series.
Okay.
Justin Sloan.
And so thanks to all our viewers and listeners. Thanks for watching and listening. And if you have a moment, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave ratings and reviews on iTunes. And have a great week.
Happy watching.
Take care, everyone.